Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is The Curse of Nineveh. It was written by Mike Mason, Mark Latham, Scott Dorward, and Paul Fricker, and it's available from the Chaosium website. I'm the GM, and this is episode 35. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. All right. So the last thing you guys were talking about was possibly an assault on Delgado's compound. A bunch of people were killed at a church and or driven crazy and or sent to the hospital. What do you want to do? You've got a couple of days before the Royal Garden Party. Oh, don't everybody speak up at once.
So do we think we should try and intervene before the party?
Given that we'll be surrounded by masses of people and we don't exactly know what Delgado's plans are, it might be the only opportunity we'll have to intervene beforehand. I'm curious to see this cache of weapons that Felix stashed away before his untimely demise.
You know, it could also be beneficial if we did a creepy crawl on Delgado's place, set a fire or two to distract them with the hopes of, you know, bringing chaos into their plans. Give them something to deal with other than this garden party.
Yes, I can see that it might be favorable to us to give Mr. Delgado some more things to think about than his planned conquest. I've never engaged in arson myself. And again, I've never armed myself to storm someone's stately home before.
That's my point. A little arson saves a whole lot of risk of getting shot. If we invade his domain, you know, we stand the risk of getting shot by him or his, you know, associates. Whereas if we set a fire, we can be in and out and not in the line of fire.
Your friends, Mr. Albright, said that they'd recognized a number of underworld figures at Delgado's party. Do we suppose that he has a number of armed thugs in his employ as bodyguards or the like? Or are we dealing with normal domestic staff?
Isn't that prerequisite for the bad guy? I mean, in general.
This is my first bad guy, Mr. Albright.
I don't feel comfortable with this whole head-on approach. We've seen what's happened with our fellows when they've taken on a head-on approach, and it's never turned out well. I mean, how would it work this time for us? I mean, I think we're out of our element here, for sure.
Have you a recommendation then, Mr. Munden?
Is there some way we could involve the authorities? Let them know that
an ancient Babylonian god is occupying the body of an underworld criminal.
Well, we can't put it that way, but we could always find something to, how we say, well, what's the way to put it there? A plausible cause?
I think everybody has a valid point. We should check Matthew's weapons cache. I think we should do some surveillance on Delgado's home. But if we did tip off to the yard about a supposed guest going to the garden party that might have nefarious thoughts against the king, might get him some surveillance. And if he is doing something nefarious, he might just get caught doing it, not knowing the yard is watching. I think a little bit of each plan here might be put together to put the puzzle together.
Well, is there some way we could maybe pin Delgado as an anarchist of some kind?
How about this? A little bit of my plan and a little bit of your plan, Mr. Munden.
Yeah.
We obtained dynamite. with a very long fuse.
Dynamite.
Listen, we throw it at Munden's house and take off. A, the explosion definitely throws him into chaos. 2, dynamite going off in the city is definitely going to attract the cops to the one place that he does not want them attracted to, his house.
I think you meant Delgado's house,
Delgado's house, yeah.
not Munden's house.
Yeah,
He might
sorry.
not like that.
Yes, I don't want my house to explode. Thank you very much. I just paid it off. Hmm.
How
But
easy
that
is
way-
it to obtain said long fuse dynamite?
Yes.
we
Can
need
you
is
throw
a-
that thing?
All we need is a construction company.
Hmm.
I'm
I have
happy
no
to have one.
no idea of where to find a construction company with dynamite, or a mining company, or anything else that uses dynamite. I would assume.
During this time period, dynamite would be fairly easy to actually get.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in London.
No, not in London. Outside of London, maybe, especially in the mining regions like in Wales and stuff, it might be a lot easier. But
If they're actively building underground trains,
yeah,
and one knows somebody in the underground train sphere,
there you
it
go,
seems
my
the most
lady.
likely thing.
Quite. Hmm.
Okay, then we do it without dynamite. We set fire to the house, stand outside the house, and fire guns into the house. Don't have to hit anybody. The cops are going to want to know what all's going on, so they're going to show up and start questioning why this guy's house was open fired on.
That if he does have known members of the illicit London scene, that might cause the authorities to pay more attention. At the same time, it might be that he can just wave his hand in there and say a few words in Sumerian and drive the police insane or dead. I mean, the wreckage of the church was pretty horrific.
At least we would know. We'd know one way or the other what we're going to have to do.
Yes, but if he actually did that, that would attract even more attention and perhaps even governmental forces in that case.
Let's have this conversation on our way to Felix's, so we can at least see what he left us.
Mm.
All right.
I have a suggestion, taking in all these ideas. If we do happen to be able to come across some dynamite, we could set it off over at Delgado's in one way, shape, or form, and at the same time throw in a tip to the yard that Aloysius Delgado is actually an anarchist, and anarchists use dynamite and explosives for their ne'er-do-well activities. Having that go off accidentally, and then they go in with the pretense that Delgado is actually an anarchist, and then from there they could discern the situation.
Fuller, do an idea roll.
No, 100. Well, here's the thing is, we could also call the police and give an anonymous tip that that Delgado is planning something at the garden party. And that would definitely get the cops there. I'm not saying it would work in the grand scheme of things, but it would get the cops in there to start investigating. Who knows what they might run across when they're there. I still say the dynamite is the best bet. Felix might have some in his cache of weapons. I mean, he seems to have everything else.
Well, let's have a look.
Yep. So let's go check out Felix's supply.
All right. It doesn't take you long to get there. You have keys to the place. Place feels just a little musty because there's no longer any staff. You find his cache of weapons, and basically he has guns and rifles, and he has a couple of World War One hand grenades, and I'm going to do a luck roll to see if he has dynamite.
Honestly, a hand grenade will work.
He doesn't have any dynamite.
Hand grenade will work just fine.
There we go. Excuse me.
The cops are going to
Put it on the wooden rod and you throw them.
That's a German hand grenade.
That's the German kind.
Yeah,
I don't know what the. I
pull
don't
the
know
pin
what
on this one. I do believe.
Pull the pins. Okay.
The hand grenades that the Allied troops used look like the standard grenade that you picture in your mind.
Pomegranate.
Yeah. But the Germans had what was called a potato masher, where the explosive was at the end of a stick. But doesn't matter. If you throw that, it's going to explode. Dynamite's going to explode. That's what we're looking for, is the explosion to attract the police, not necessarily even for how much damage it's going to do.
Now, so we have the ability to cause an explosion at his home. Are any of you gentlemen emotionally prepared to fire upon the fellow? Should he rush out onto the street? Are we sufficiently compelled?
Yeah, I think that we pretty much are sure that he is our target. So I would say yes.
Need to be careful. We can't compromise ourselves until the task is done. I mean, he is after our king. We need to stop him. But if we're all captured, tossing a grenade into a house that he might not even be there and get picked up,
True.
we can lose the king. We just need to think this through very methodically.
Well, then one person should go throw the grenade, and that way the others aren't connected to it.
At least two of us need to be in a completely separate location, like the club when it happens, for plausible deniability, at the very least.
And
keeping in mind, however, that there's more at risk actually than even the king.
And Audrey cannot be one of the people because she's got the invitation to the party, so she has to remain
correct,
blameless. I think that this is our best bet, is to do this. And like I said, we're not looking to damage the house or burn it down necessarily. We're just interested in the cops showing up, wondering why there was an explosion.
So if we coordinate it properly with a phone call to the yard merely 20 minutes, half hour before the attack on the estate, would hopefully be enough evidence for them to go in and at least look at the place. But at the same time, if he is connected, like Audrey said, he will have his criminal underground surrounding him.
Yes, and that's not a good thing. We probably wouldn't even be able to get close.
I would probably have to be in the dead of night with a car, drive past, and one person in the car, the other person run up to the fence, throw it in, get back in the car, and take off like a bat out of hell.
My worry is if we do this at the wrong time, that would give him a chance to escape, and we'd be back at the beginning of it all, and that he would be able to sneak out and then show up at the garden party.
But then there would be a recorded incident at his home and a recorded incident of him being an anarchist. Hopefully.
Possibly.
But remember, he might just be able to pay off. He might even have people in the yard working for him.
That's
Well,
true.
he very well might, but come on. If there's an explosion at his house, does he own all of the police? If he does, we're screwed to begin with.
I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm just saying that it's very risky. Something has to be done regardless. This seems to be the best plan that we have at the moment.
The other option is to walk up to his door, knock on the door, and shoot whoever answers the door.
It still won't get us anywhere. We
Get
need
us anywhere.
Delgado or nothing, basically. Or this other person that was seen with him.
Well,
Else?
if you threw a Molotov cocktail at the house, the odds are, in my thinking, is it would go off without alerting the people inside the house. I mean, they're not going to hear the bottle breaking, and flames don't make noise. So once you get the house going, then you chuck a grenade to attract the police. We're long gone by this point. The police come. You've got fire trucks, police officers, all this kinds of stuff. It's going to throw the scene into chaos.
Yes, but we don't even know if Delgado's present. I mean, he could be driving in the country right now. Could have no effect on him.
That's true.
Having read all of Felix's
Get
notes,
away.
also, you know, I understand that Delgado was extremely scrupulous about avoiding ties to the underworld. So I don't think we're going to have any luck.
He's been keeping his nose clean.
Yes. I fear that trying to convince the authorities that he is a problem in advance of the event will avail us not. I'm trying to think about what we understand of the return of Nabu from the prophecy. I don't know whether, you know, it said something about him, you know, moving from host to host and increasing status. I don't even know if he'll be in Delgado by the time of the gala. He may already have found a higher host or something. We could, you know, if we manage to trap Delgado, we might not trap Nabu and prevent this ascension, which is what's most vital. Even at the beginning, he dines on 1,000 souls.
I didn't even take that into consideration. It might be better if he stays in Delgado then, so at least we know who to look for.
This Leicester, refresh my memory. Is there a god that or demon of the Nineveh
Pantheon?
pantheon? Yes, the pantheon that diametrically opposes Nabu.
We know Pazuzu fights with Lamashtu. I don't think we know. I mean, Nabu is a scribe god in some contexts. In the context of that prophecy, he seems to be the primary deity. You know, a whole new age in his name.
He holds the scrolls that say what everything is going to happen. He knows the future and the past.
And who is Yehutris?
That name seems to be linked with Nabu only by references that you found along the way. You don't find any literature. But the thing that was on, the symbol that was on the bottom of the golden statue when Swinesucker saw it, he said Yulhuthris.
Okay.
So he could read it. He just didn't know what it meant. And he made a sign like it's, you know,
right,
bad luck.
Now, I just thought of something too when I believe it was Audrey said, even if we do manage to get Delgado locked up or interrogated, if we don't know how he jumps. He could jump right out of himself into the police and be like, well, that man's free, let him go. Like,
There has to be some form of ritual that allows him to jump. And I say that because if he can freely move about without said ritual, then we have zero chance of stopping him. If all he has to do is just decide he's going to move to another body, he can do that at will, and there's nothing we could do to stop it.
well, Albright, what happened in the church? Would you say that was a ritual?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
set up.
So maybe he's already done the ritual.
Patrick, do an idea roll.
51 out of 90.
Oh, good idea. It suddenly, a few things began to click in your mind. Apparently, the children of Tranquility had him locked up for thousands of years. There must be some way to lock him up.
So I reiterate that to the group, my thoughts on that.
Yeah, but we got all the children of Tranquility arrested.
Did we?
Maybe, maybe not. But if they
Surely
did,
not all, but they were always very difficult to get in touch with, were they not?
yes, they
Yes.
from the notes they were.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought of something. He might have been released when they went to the tomb that's being rebuilt in the museum. Maybe the recreation of that temple is actually his prison. Maybe if they did it, if the children had him imprisoned, there's a way to do it. Now, if when Campbell released him by opening the temple, released him, maybe the reconstruction of the temple might not be that bad of an idea. We might have been fighting against the wrong thing the whole time.
Actually, now that as I think about it, Audrey and Patrick, you would have kind of like, I guess, inside information on the temple construction and what's going on there. So from your understanding, there would have been a sarcophagus or an altar in the center of the temple. And the objects, the cat's eye and the horn and all of these things were positioned around it. And from what you've kind of guessed along the way is that those are not necessarily in worship of Nabu, but rather to keep anyone from disturbing the sarcophagus.
The seal of which has now been broken in the church.
So you can sort of guess that Nabu must have been imprisoned in that sarcophagus.
Right, and the horn and whatnot were arrayed against him, in a sense.
And to keep people away. If being in the vicinity of the horn gives you nightmares and disturbing the other thing lets out that creature that impels you to trees, those might have been the wards keeping people from opening the sarcophagus. So
Well,
if we put Delgado in that sarcophagus, we might be able to contain him.
Yeah, that's not going to be easy to do.
At least we have a better game plan of blowing him up.
Maybe he doesn't have. Maybe he doesn't have to be in the sarcophagus. If we just had the items and we could surround him with the items.
Like I said, I don't think the items were to keep him in the sarcophagus. It was to keep other people from getting to the sarcophagi.
That's what the children of the Tranquility's whole purpose was.
Right.
To protect course, after a few thousand years, they got kind of lax in there. They didn't even realize that Campbell had found the tomb.
And after a
Let's
few
do that.
thousand years, the power of the story might lose its strength too. Oh yeah, somebody's trapped in there. We gotta blah blah blah.
Well, maybe we should try to see if we can contact the Children of Tranquility and see if there's any left.
And well, we have the
Probably did.
seal, and we technically have the sarcophagus.
We don't have the seal.
Well, we have a copy of it, which, if it's
Right.
correct, it's correct. It's a clay seal is a clay seal. It's the words printed on it.
No, it's the magic imbibed, invested into the
Six-
item.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's our best shot. You know what I mean? I agree with you, Fuller. But what else do we have?
So, Patrick, do you suggest that we send Aloysius Delgado an engraved invitation to the museum to see the temple? Keep in mind the temple is mentioned in the prophecy as well. He rises to, he seeks out hosts that are higher, and he consumes 1,000 souls, and he has an ascension at the temple, according to the prophecy. I don't know, of course, how literally to take these things.
I have an idea of how we can talk to the Children of Tranquility.
How's that?
They're in jail. We've got ins in the police station. If we went to them and said, hey, look, Naboo is back on the planet, how do we stop him? Surely they would tell us.
Chance.
Everything that I saw suggested they were rather uncommunicative, but they might have the only information.
Well, they're in prison and they can't stop him, so it's up to us.
Valid point.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's call the Bobbies. Whom do we
Alright.
trust most on the force?
I don't know. We've talked to a number of police officers. I mean, they know us pretty well by now.
Yeah, I don't remember any names. I can think of policemen's names, but I can't remember which game they were actually in.
There were a couple investigators, at least.
Was Balling one of them? Or
No.
was that?
Not here.
Wait, I can go back. Take a look. Brinslow.
Brinslow and Partridge.
Brinslow and Partridge.
Yeah.
That sounds like a legal firm.
All right. Should someone... I'm only good at intimidating, after all, not charming.
Well, what exactly are you going to do? You can easily get in touch with Scotland Yard or the local police.
Just ask if we could visit the Children of Tranquility. We would like to ask them some questions of a historical nature.
We would ask for the individuals who tried to break into the museum. We wouldn't mention the true name.
Whose exploits we discovered.
All right. Who's going to make the call?
I mean, I'm willing to.
I mean,
Let's say whoever has the best luck.
I'm at 50.
I'm at
50.
I think I could use my position at the museum to maybe get a little extra pull.
That's probably
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
That's a fairly logical thing. I'll let
Especially
you
if
do
it's
a
a
luck
museum matter.
luck roll with a bonus dice.
Excellent.
I mean, all we're doing is asking to visit. Surely they get visitors.
58 on my first roll, 18 on my second.
All right, so you passed. It's highly unusual. These people are considered terrorists, but for the sake of, I guess, your academia and your involvement with the British Museum, I guess you should be able to be allowed to chat with some of them. So that can be arranged for tomorrow morning.
Perfect. That would be myself and a couple colleagues from the museum.
Does Felix have? I assume we're lounging around with Felix's scotch
Yeah.
in his rec room of weapons. Does he have a firing range?
We never
equivalent?
decided that, but maybe down in the basement. Remember you beat up the guy who liked it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was disturbing to read about.
He's still down there, by the way. He's like, oh, torture me some more? Come on, then.
Yeah, so I'm going to trade in my 22 for something a little more substantial and practice firing a little bit in case it becomes necessary.
I'd say that what you can all do that. Just be reasonable. There's not an elephant gun.
Yeah, I'm thinking
or
about
a
38.
punt, one of those gigantic.
All right, 16 foot.
Take that to the garden party.
The largest firearm I can fit in my handsomest purse, I think, is what I'm looking for.
A Mauser.
So, are we in agreement, gentlemen, that rather than visiting Delgado with a grenade, we'll speak to the Children of Tranquility tomorrow and see what can be done about the prophecy?
Yes.
Can we do both?
Maybe
well,
eventually.
Yeah, you've got plenty of time.
Well, first,
Well, you don't have plenty of time. You got a couple of days. All right. So we'll say that unless there's something you want to do, the day will come and go, and we'll jump to tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next day comes, and your appointment is to go there at 9:30 a.m. It's been arranged that you will be shown the prisoners, and you can see if they want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a room they'll allow you to speak to one of them or interview. A room that's got bars in the middle, so you'll be on one side, they'll be on the other.
Well, the Children of Tranquility should know who I am. I'm part of the original party, so they've had dealings with us before, so they know who I am.
So you're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should all go.
All right. There's a lot of them, so they don't all know you personally. Might know your name, maybe. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't mean like on a personal basis, but they know that I'm involved with I had been involved with the Children of Tranquility and these certain artifacts.
They probably know the floor plan of your apartment, for that matter.
All right.
Before we interview, does anybody recall? I'm just remembering the notes that we read. The one gentleman of the Children of Tranquility that everyone had a meeting with before, who initiated the contact before the whole crow juicing incident. Is there a name involved?
I believe it was Asur Rahman.
Yes, maybe if we can ask if he is amongst the them in there. He should at least be one that we might be able to work with.
Absolutely.
Or even dropping his name, the others will surely know him.
Okay. I'm just saying, if he is amongst those that are in prison, we should be able to perhaps connect with him, and it might be easier to
yeah, absolutely, great idea.
All right. So it seems to me there were two names that you had. I just can't find the other guy. Come on, it's fine. Well, good enough. All right. So you get to the prison. You go through the procedures. You're not allowed to take any weapons
Azaruddin.
inside.
Sorry.
Azar. That's right.
Yeah, he's the older one.
No, he was the younger one, I believe.
Oh, he's the other younger one. Okay.
So we have a snappy dresser.
Yes.
Ramon was
London was.
possibly one of their leaders.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's ask for both of them there.
Yeah.
all right. So you get there, and the police, you can't go by name because the police don't know their names. They refuse to talk. They're all dressed in black and white striped prison outfits. You're at the local, you're not at the jail, you're at the local prison. They've been imprisoned, which I don't know what's there in London, but whatever. So imagine, if you will, that you're in a long corridor. There are jail cells on either side. They're very sparse, and the prisoners have been cleared out of the middle of the section so that you guys are safe and not going to be bothered. They have them 4 to a cell. There's 2 bunk beds in each cell. The living conditions are pretty tight.
No,
And they're all just sitting there.
I don't believe the guards would have any objection to me bringing in a bunch of packs of cigarettes.
They're
mean-
Muslim. They wouldn't smoke.
No, they wouldn't. Well, they're not
So,
Muslim, actually.
I think that Muslims smoke.
That-
Yeah, no
Practically
alcohol, but
No alcohol.
the-
They smoke like.
However, I'm not sure that they would let you bring in. Maybe. Well, do a luck roll. Do a
That
luck
time
roll.
of that year, they probably would have.
Yeah.
Well, they might
'cause,
be afraid that you're trying to break them out, so they'd have to go through every pack of cigarettes and make
Yes.
sure you're not.
Just-
29 out of 50.
All
Just-
right, we'll say that they let you have them.
Just go up to the cells, and just say Asha Rahman, Nasha Rahman. See if somebody stands up and answers to it.
Is that what you're going to do, or is that what
Yeah.
you're going to do?
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, do a psychology roll.
Oh, please. Not a friggin' chance. No.
All right. Nobody is saying anything.
Shit, I don't speak Arabic.
I'm pretty sure they speak English.
I'm gonna listen. I know I'm kind of loud, so the couple of the cells could hear. We're here to help stop what you came here to stop. And I say the 2 names out loud, and I say we're the only ones out here who know and believe what's going on. If you want to fulfill your mission, somebody needs to speak to us.
Patrick, do an idea roll.
40 out of 90.
You're in a prison with a bunch of people who are here for terrorism, and you're saying out loud, rather loudly, that you want to help complete their mission.
Well, the guards right with us?
The guards
Yes.
are always with you.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
They're not
thought they
gonna, like-
kinda-
they're still within earshot.
Oh, I thought they let us go in and they were at the end of the thing. All right.
You said rather loudly.
I mean, so the couple jail cells could hear.
All right, I'm going to try. I've got my notes out.
I'm gonna let that retract because I think that would be
I
disastrous.
was picturing it a completely different way.
Yeah.
Understand that when the time is right and all things are in place, shall the way be opened for Nabu to return and walk among us, God on earth, made flesh, and he shall be King of Kings. Does that get any attention?
Oh, you say that out loud.
Yeah.
Do a psych roll.
That also something I'm versed in. Yeah, not even with luck could I do that.
The most you get is that you notice some of them start whispering to one another.
Is it a surly, angry kind of whisper, or a curious, fluttery sort of whisper?
Confused, yeah, sort of whisper. There are some amongst them that are obviously, just keep your composure, and the other ones are like, the younger ones are the ones who are like, should we say something? You don't understand what they're saying, but that's the feeling
Sure.
that you get from.
We're here because the seal has been broken. I think we have only a matter of days to prevent the ascension, and we don't know how that is to be done. So we've come to you.
I start putting packs of cigarettes by all the cells, like. Audrey, and I say this now, I do say out loud, Audrey, maybe if they decide for one of them to speak, we would be able to get them in a private room with just us to discuss something. They would need to tell the guards. We could wait around for about an hour, maybe half hour.
Well, the guards will let you speak to some of them.
But I say that to Audrey so they can all hear.
Oh.
So when we walk away, if nobody wants to step forward now, when we walk away, they can pick a delegate, so to speak.
And they're being held on charges of terrorism, not of attempted theft. That's correct?
Correct.
So they're
So a few of them come forward to get the cigarettes. One of them looks up, let's say it looks up at Patrick, and gets a little bit of a smile on his face. And he says, I may be able to help you.
Well, pick one of us, pick one of you guys to come speak with us in private. We're the only chance we have to stop this. And I, in a hush.
Well, he's telling you he might be able to help you.
Audrey.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do?
Maybe we could have more than one conversation, Patrick. If you stand near the guards and have a loud conversation, maybe I can get something out of this fellow. A little sotto voce.
So I'll step back over to the guards and be like, yeah, I can't believe these are the bastards that tried to rob, blah, blah. And I'm packing a pack of cigarettes.
All right. You already have permission to pick any of them you want to talk to and take them to a private room.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what the whole
Oh, I did, yeah,
There's a misunderstanding.
didn't follow that, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll indicate to the jailer, like, this fellow is going to assist us with our inquiries.
So you can see that a few of his fellows are whispering back and forth. Some of them look angry, maybe. Others look hopeful, whatever. Mm-hmm. So he comes with you, and he has an exaggeratedly pleasant, but he's obviously dirty, and he's, been mistreated and whatever. But they take you to a room, and you're separated by bars. He can't get to you, but there is a guard at the door, and all the rest of you are in there. You're seating. You're probably not all seated, but we'll say you're all seated. Whatever.
So as I said, I'm sure you don't have news in here, but the seal was broken at a Anglican church here in town. There was a massacre. The survivors were mostly taken to the madhouse.
I'm not sure you understand
We do not.
what you're saying. There is no seal that has been broken. You are in the middle of something that is far more dangerous than you could ever imagine. But I'm not sure how much you would believe me of what I would tell you.
Well, I can tell you that I have gained the ability to converse with felines.
I don't know anything about that. Very strange.
It is very strange.
There is an evil that is trying to break its way into our world. It is the fault of your archaeologists who have disturbed our sacred places. They have released this thing that we have been guarding for thousands of years. And now it is loose in your London, and it will soon consume everything.
Is there a way to stop it from doing so?
You have to prevent it from ascending. You have to prevent it from doing what it does. But it sounds to me like it has already begun. In ancient times, there was a worship of the god of wisdom, Nabu. And this was not a bad thing. This was the Samaritan god of wisdom and knowledge, the future, the past. But there was something else. There was a priest who had become corrupted in his thinking. He worshipped not Nabu, but a darker, more horrific god. One that is called by our people, I don't know how you would translate it, it's an old god, one of the ancient forbidden things of time and space. And this priest came up, was in contact with this entity, and it told him how it might be brought into the world. And it wanted a body. It needed a body. It needed a bridge between itself and this world. And so the high priest.
Are you talking about Yog-Sothoth?
You know this name.
Yes, we've heard it.
Yes, this is, Yog-Sothoth is not so much an intelligent entity as it is a kind of force, but this entity, this Yolhuthris, this thing pretending to be Nabu, is in league with it, or is part of it. And what our priest, our great high priest, he realized the plot of what they were attempting. He realized what they were doing. And he founded us, the children of tranquility, that we will thwart what he was up to. Mm. And so the time came when everything was right, that this evil high priest began to perform his ritual within the temple of Nabu. And before he could finish the last words, wherein he would become possessed by this deity, our people struck. We killed him down. We struck him and his followers dead. And then our priest, as a supreme sacrifice, completed the ritual and became possessed of this deity, whereupon the children of tranquility took him and tied him up and mummified him and placed him in the tomb and sealed it closed and buried the temple in the desert with guards and wards to keep people from ever disturbing it. And so that is where he remained until your archaeologist came and dug it up and transferred all of these things to London. Now, Yolhuthris is loose, and he is moving once again from body to body. He will try to get the most powerful person. And if he sacrifices 1,000 souls in the temple, that which you call Yog-Sothoth will come. Yog-Sothoth, the destroyer of worlds, the eater of souls.
Is it specifically a Sumerian temple, or it could be any temple?
Don't know. We assume the temple that you are rebuilding in the British Museum.
But it is
But could it be-
possible
but
to
could it-
subdue, or it was you could only subdue your priest because he was willing.
No, because he was human.
So if we get the vessel that hosts this Yolhuthris and bind it, it's subject to human force.
Yes. But if you kill it, it will simply move to another place. The seal is the conduit through which it passes. There is no broken seal. The seal is used to pass from one body to another.
What if we broke the seal?
They would simply make another one.
It's already been done, in fact.
If I understand what you're saying, sir, correctly, the 1,000 souls, that's like in faith, like in a faith sort of situation.
Yog-Sothoth is the eater of souls. He consumes the mind, the heart. He absorbs the knowledge. Everything that the person was is gone. Perhaps you've encountered some of his victims along the way.
I think we know where he may be.
Then you should go there and try and stop him.
And how does one stop a powerful magician who is containing this entity, Yolhuthris?
What we do not know is this. If they were to have opened the tomb and released the soul, the spirit of Yolhuthris upon the world, there would need to be a high priest to call him out of the ether and place him inside of a vessel.
We found that high priest.
If you kill the body and Yolhuthris is once again released, and you kill the high priest, then there will be no one to pull him out
Carry
of
out
the
the
ether, at least
act.
not immediately. The threat can only be delayed, but we managed to delay it for 3,000 years. And now I'm afraid there's not enough of us left to do anything about it. It's in your hands.
So the entirety of your group that was in this country has been rounded up?
Pretty much. We were all in our underground headquarters when we were attacked by the police.
Sorry about that. And there's
Remember,
no other.
he doesn't know that you guys did that.
And there's no other prophecy or lore that you can advise us regarding.
That was 3,000 years ago.
You were caught trying to break into the museum. What were you going to do?
Take whatever we could that was involved in the temple. Stop your people from doing it.
Is the temple safer, intact, or dispersed? Or does it not even matter once the Yolhuthris is walking the earth?
We were desperate. We don't know what exactly to do. But that's what we were attempting at the time. We also wanted to know if there were any other artifacts that you had within from the temple.
Well, we have the horn of Alu.
You have the Horn of Alu.
Yes. We gave you the statue.
Yes, those have all been confiscated from us. We don't know where they are.
They're back at the museum. Is the Horn of Alu safer in the temple or away from the temple, if you know?
I don't know the answer to that. It's not safe to be around for any length of time. There is a guardian within it that will destroy anyone who is near.
Can any of the artifacts be used to stop either the priest or the incarnate or whatever?
I don't.
Would this guardian be able to deal with you, Huthris?
No.
Hmm.
Alu is just a kind of a demon. Yulhuthris is a god.
Hmm.
But he's not fully Yulhuthris yet. Is that correct?
Well, he is fully Yulhuthris, and he's in a host body, but he needs to sacrifice 1,000 souls and perform the proper rituals in the temple in order to open the gate to allow Yog-Sothoth through.
We're pretty sure we know where he's going to get the 1,000 souls from.
Yep, you just read my mind. Oh,
I got a bad feeling about this.
we have to stop him before the party. We have to.
All right, time's up.
Yeah.
Oh, that was more than beneficial.
I push all the cigarettes across the table to him. Take this. Yeah.
Unwrap
I whispered to gentlemen, ma'am, something just came to my mind. Let us talk in the car.
To the chat wagon. Is our interlocutor willing to share his name?
What?
Is the prisoner giving up his name?
Al-Jabiri.
Al-Jabiri. Well, thank you for your trust in us and the wisdom that you have imparted. All will be known in a couple of days. If we're all still here, then
It's actually Ghassan Al-Jabiri. So
Ghassan Al-Jabiri.
that was just his last name.
So, Tom, let me ask you a question. I know we haven't been there yet, but we do know where Delgado's house is.
Yes.
How would you describe the area around the house? Is it in the inner city, or is it out in the country?
Well, Audrey's been there.
Yeah.
It's
a pretty fancy fenced
it's in a very nice area of town.
So
got
there's
grounds
houses
and a
around it.
fence.
There's houses around it.
There's houses.
It's freestanding, and there's a fence.
There's a wall, a garden wall. It's fairly large property.
The fanciest kind of digs you can get in London.
So maybe 300 feet would be the closest other dwelling.
And that's not going to make a difference. Bullets fly that far. I'm just considering that we might have to do a full-on siege of this house, and I worry about neighbors getting shot. I mean, I'm all fine for killing the bad guy, but I don't want innocents to get hurt.
Are we at the car yet?
Yeah. I don't think we had any more conversations with the police.
Gentlemen, ma'am, I want you to hear me out on this.
Wait, who are you talking to?
Everybody in the we're in the car.
You're in the car.
I don't think oh, how do I put this? A temple is a place of worship, yes?
Yes.
Theoretically, yeah.
All right. And it's representative of a higher authority. Yes?
Mhm.
Here's my concern. What if the temple that is not the temple that's in the British Museum, but the temple that is Britannica?
What?
Buckingham Palace.
Hmm.
The high
Oh.
priest being the royal family. The higher authority being the royal family. We look upon them just as the Sumerians looked upon their high priests in their temple. In a sense, the Buckingham Palace and that and the area of the garden party, all that that's a temple in essence.
And
What's to
there's
say that the ascension of Yahuthrus is not going to happen at the garden party, because there's your 1,000 souls, there's your higher authority, all in one place.
Well, even if that does not qualify as a temple, with regards to the particular magic ritual involved, we don't really wish to have the king's soul displaced by Euhuthris or sacrifice 1,000 other souls.
Yes.
So we have to intervene before that gala.
Look, you know what Delgado looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Why not call Delgado, tell him we're bringing the horn to him,
Mm-hmm.
show up on his doorstep, have a box in our hand, hand him the box, and then everybody pulls guns and fires point blank range.
We just have to make sure we have his friend, the pseudo priest, along as well.
Yes,
Because if we
gotta
simply
get
kill
both.
Delgado but don't get the other, then apparently Euhuthris is just free to choose another host, which frankly
Right.
could be any of us, and we wouldn't know.
How do we
Yes.
not know that he is the high priest? Delgado might be the high priest, not the Euhuthris.
Either way, we have to take them both out. And if
Yes.
we contact him ahead of time, he'll have his whole underground army there. We need to surprise him and maybe even give him a box, but when he opens it up, it's a couple grenades.
Well, yeah, but wait, why would he have everybody on alert? We've talked to him about giving him the statue anyway. So, I mean, he doesn't think of us as rivals. We just so happen to have the statue that he wants, and we've talked about giving it to him because
He discussed it with Felix, and he
yeah,
just
Felix
discussed
was
it.
going to give it to him. So he's not looking for a fight. He's looking to collect.
Point made. Good
Point.
Yeah. Well, it's just I don't know how we make sure that we get both of them in one.
Yes, and the thing is, we'll only see Delgado. We won't see this other.
You know,
other
two men
person.
left that church intact, and we need to get both of them before Euhuthris moves upward. And probably he's not moving upward from Delgado, who, after all, is a pretty fortunate fellow.
Okay, but here's the bottom line that can't be ignored. We're assuming that everything's going to go down during this garden party. If we go and take Delgado out, even if he's just going to come back into another body, at least we've thrown the time frame off so that it won't happen during the garden party. We'll have postponed his plans.
Yeah, I don't know how the new host of Euhuthris would signify its presence to this high priest fellow, this patsy friend of Delgado's. So it would buy us some time.
I mean, we can get anywhere we want. We're of a social standing high enough that we can pretty much talk our way into anything we want. But we're going to be really hard pressed to be toting guns at a garden party.
We're not getting guns into that party.
No.
It's not happening.
Well, it's in the public streets, right?
No.
Or is it all in Buckingham Palace?
It's
Right.
it's on the gardens of Buckingham Palace.
I wonder if they have the capacity to search that many people. But at any rate, we wouldn't survive the effort. So that means, gentlemen, that we're back to the plan of going to Delgado's house, ringing his doorbell, and saying, "Hi, allow us to gun you down in your foyer."
Yes, but if it's only just Delgado and we don't get the other one, it'd be all for naught.
What's the name of his friend that he went to the church with?
Elphinstone.
Elphinstone.
Yeah, so that
Well,
could be a pseudonym.
Yes,
Or
I
alias.
agree that it puts us in a position of not actually completing the task. But here's the thing is, if we postpone his little plans for the garden party, when is he next going to get 1,000 people lined up for him? He's going to have to take out a lot of churches.
I mean, the opening of the temple at the museum might draw substantial crowds. So, where did Felix leave his negotiations? We just found that note that he was talking seriously to Delgado about handing it over. We don't know exactly
You
what the
don't
conversation.
really know because he didn't discuss any of that with you guys.
Right.
It looked very much like he was going to sneak and give the horn to Delgado. You don't know what his purpose was. Maybe
Let's
he
say-
wanted to murder Delgado as well.
Indeed. Let's say we repair to the club, take tea, call Delgado from the club. That way we don't have to rely on him answering his doorbell and not being at a country house or, somewhere else. Invite him and Elphinstone to the club to pick up the Horn of Alu for a substantial sum.
This is kind of a stretch, but why would we assume that they wouldn't be together anyway? We were talking about going and gunning down Delgado, and we would have to get the high priest too. But they're so close to the event, I'm willing to bet that they're not going to be separated very much. They're going to be in each other's hip pocket.
I agree with that. I've already thought about that.
Especially if they don't know that we need to get both of them and that they have enemies trying to.
But I'm fine with having them come to the club. They'll be on our turf.
We might need to just go to our respective banks, liquidate everything we have, set up a stash of cash somewhere, invite them to the club, kill them, and move to China. I mean,
That's a bit of a stretch there.
think about it. We need to save the king and the world. And if we kill them in the middle of the club, which might be the only opportunity we have, we'd have to get out of Dodge, so to speak.
Why would we do it at the club?
Or they just broke into the club to steal the horn.
He's a member. He doesn't have to break in. I'm not,
Yes, but he could break into the private room.
who's gonna believe it? He's spotless clean. But I'm saying.
Well, how about it? How about wait? How about an accident? He breaks in. We're on edge. We don't. It's dark. We don't see him. We mistake. He fire. He's dead.
What makes you think he's going to break in?
No, we invite him over and say that he did something wrong. But either way,
We invite him over. He winds up dead. When the cops come, there's guns in their hands. Hey, we were going to sell him this horn, and he decided he wanted to take it from us. We had to fire to protect ourselves.
Once again, nobody will believe that Delgado is spotless.
Right.
It'd be like accusing your grandmother of doing such a thing.
That's why I'm saying we just do the deed and get the heck out of England.
Honestly, with the level that we're talking about here, if we go to jail, we go to jail. It will be worth it.
Wait a minute. I have a better idea. Delgado and this Elphinstone, so-called Elphinstone, would they not potentially be traveling in a vehicle at some point?
Well, yeah.
probably travel to the party in a vehicle.
Well, maybe not just the party, but in some other capacity along the way. Would there be some way we could arrange for an accident with that vehicle? Mainly one where a grenade is tossed inside.
Well, technically, you could stick a grenade up in the tire well with the pin tied to a piece of string, the string tied to a tree. As they roll forward, it pulls the pin.
That's one way of doing it, I suppose. Why
What
don't
if
we
it
give them?
kills
Why don't we
20
give
other
them an
people?
excuse? Why don't we give them an excuse to leave? We know that find out that we know that it's a particular car they're going to leave in. We give them an excuse to leave. They run off, and then boom.
Or we could just go to their house, open the door, and shoot at them, and take off in a car.
Well,
I'm not about this direct confrontation sort of thing. It's caused nothing but trouble.
we need to come up with a plan and execute it. We're running out of time. Yes, we have
Yes.
a day or two, but we don't. We need to do something.
Well, what good would we be if we missed something and there was something else going on?
And we could sit here and talk for a month about this. We just need to.
I know.
And I mean, I have a pristine job at the museum. I'm doing what I love, but I don't see any of us walking out of this clean after this. But we're protecting, king and country.
Yes, but there are others that won't see it that way.
No, that's why I'm saying we're screwed either way. We just need to do something. We're gonna be murderers in the eyes of the world.
You remember, Yog-Sothoth, eater of worlds.
That's what I'm saying. We have no choice but to do what we need to do. But excuse the expression, but we need to shit or get off the pot.
Better to live in Bedlam than to be dead.
You're
You're mute.
I would prefer to be in Bedlam than to be in a blasted world under the dominion of an insane deity that frightens even our friend Gasson. But perhaps we should be thinking of redundant plans rather than escape plans. So we invite them, we are armed. We also have somebody with a grenade for their vehicle once it arrives at the club. Maybe someone on the roof with a third firearm. We don't want a half-done job.
right.
And whether we manage to escape to Hong Kong, which would be preferable to being hanged, at least we won't live under the dominion of Yog-Sothoth, whatever that is, elder thing. And if nothing else, it costs nothing to phone him, see if he answers his phone, see if he wants the horn. He might not even consider the horn important anymore, having already ascended part way.
Well, we can find out.
For Tom, do we have at least 4 grenades?
Okay, sure.
Not a very good idea, but might be the only idea when it comes down to it. Each of us have a grenade. If we get within distance of him, we stick it in his pocket and run. If we can't run, we grab him and we jump on him with the grenade. We're saving the world and the king. We have no choice in this matter. I will do it if it comes to it. I don't expect Audrey to have to do that, but us men, we have no choice. We must defend our king. We must defend our world. That is where I'm going, and nothing will deter me from it. Trust me, I don't want to kill myself, but if it's the only thing to save the world, we have no choice.
Fuller is the only party who was present at the time at which Felix offered to surrender the horn. In fact, the only person who was present at the country home where the horn released its deadly phantom. Do you want to be the one to offer the horn to him?
Sure.
You probably are the most credible.
Sure.
Here's my thought. Kind of tying in with a bunch of things that we've been talking about. How about we arrange for a meeting at Felix's house? And there we could pull guns and pull triggers and such.
That's true. It's a great deal more private than the club. It wouldn't be
Yes, and if
involving
anybody,
any
yes, it is.
bystanders.
It is, and it keeps it out of the bystanders. And on top of that, we have a way to chuck a grenade in the car in case if shooting Mr. Delgado and his associate down does not work.
I think
one
that's
person on
quite
the
reasonable.
outside. So, and that would keep us away and may buy us some time to get away. And if anything else, it could be that the whole incident is pinned upon Felix's former staff.
You know, we are men of means. We could go drive down to Soho, pick up a little Bowery gang, pay them to kill Delgado for us.
True. Or make an attempt.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm looking at them as cannon fodder.
Yes, and then when they try to escape, we throw a grenade in their cars. They're passing by.
So,
Either way.
How easily you all murder people.
to save the world.
Yeah, you kind of put us in a position that this is a patriotic duty.
I've put you in no position whatsoever. You put yourselves in this position.
So, Fuller, are you going to call Delgado and set up the meeting?
Let's do the meeting over at Felix's.
Absolutely. That's spot on.
Okay, yeah.
And
I'll
let's
call
not make
Delgado.
any allusions to the fact that Felix is dead. Because as far as Delgado knows, he may still be alive.
Yes, Felix's death isn't a matter of public record, is it?
No.
Nobody knows who that was.
Right. Yes, so it can just be a continuation of the agreement that he made. Or intimated.
Yeah, just call Delgado, say, hey, we understood you were interested in the statue. Meet us at so-and-so.
Mr. Matthews is ready to hand over the horn. Please come to his residence.
Yep.
Yes.
Bring cash.
All right. So who's going to call him?
I will.
All right. Where are you going to call him from?
I guess the club.
Okay. So Sykes brings you the phone. Do you know his number?
No, I don't.
Sykes probably has his phone number.
Well, I was going to say, we should have had it in the messages and the notes.
Yeah, probably. All right. You phone him, and the phone rings and rings and rings, but never gets answered.
I'm glad we discussed that for 2.5 hours. And at least we didn't show up at his door, bang on it with 6 guns apiece, and then stand there gawping like fools while he's
a telegram or such to get his attention.
Yeah, but you have to be home to receive it.
Well, somebody had been home to receive
Doesn't
it.
he have a business?
No.
No, being wealthy.
Business is being wealthy.
Does he have a club that he goes to?
Yes,
this
this
one
club.
occasionally.
If he deems himself to come here. He's rather snobbish when he...
He is part of some magical group, too, I thought, but we'd have a better chance of getting in hell than there.
Because I think from what I read in the notes, that was sort of his own organization as well. So it might be at his home. No, he and Elphinstone are celebrating somewhere.
Did we even try and... it's probably a fake name, but did we even try and look up Elphinstone or Elfstone or whatever?
Do you have a first name? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I have Mr. Elphinstone written down here, so that doesn't seem promising. Oh, he was the one, he approached the sculptor.
Yes.
That's where we got
That's
his
right.
name.
Yeah, I think you've actually looked in the book to see if you could find something, and you didn't find it.
Right, the peerage, yeah. So, the clock is ticking toward the garden party. We have no idea where the vessel is, if he's even still intact.
Well, if we can't stop the garden party, we probably shouldn't be there to be one of the 1,000 souls.
Hmm.
We are in a bit of a quandary.
We need to find some way of getting this Elphinstone and Delgado out to where we can deal with them. How do we do this?
Well,
I
there's
don't-
no telling where Delgado's at. If he's not answering his phone, then we have no way of tracking him, finding out where he's at.
Hmm. That's why I said let's leave a telegram with him and see if he replies.
We can send a telegram. We can also, his home is not out of walking distance from the club. You know, they're both in this fancy part of town. We could at least go and, what did you say before? Case the joint? You know, there may be cars present, there may be lights on or off. We might get an idea of where
That'd
he's
be a
about.
good idea. Yes.
Yeah, just because he didn't answer the phone doesn't mean he's not there.
And if we are going to attempt an armed assault later, getting a clearer understanding of the property wouldn't hurt either. How far is the front of the house from the gate? Are there, you know, is there a stately elm with branches that point toward his master bedroom? That sort of thing.
So let's go take a look then.
Let's.
Yes.
Tom, you're muted.
Are you going to walk or drive?
Let's walk.
Maybe somebody should follow in the chatting wagon in case we need to beat a hasty retreat.
It would be about a mile's walk from there.
Oh, all right. Yes, let's
I'll
drive.
drive.
All right. But I'll assume that you're going to be cautious. You're going to park in a place where you could perhaps get out and walk after that. All right. It's a nice day. It's a little chill in the air, but not too bad. You park in such a way that you can't see the property, but then you can walk around the corner and walk in that direction, and you'll see the property. As you're going, at first, everything seems in perfect order. Now, the house is a little ways away from the front wall. But you notice, well, I'm going to have you all do spot hidden.
I failed.
I made it. Just a regular success.
Regular success also.
Okay.
Didn't make it.
Fuller and Audrey, as you are looking through the gate and you're casually strolling and looking, you can see that up on the landing, the front porch, it's a porch that wraps partly around the house. It looks like there is a guard, if you will, a gentleman in a suit. He seems to be standing kind of at attention, but he's in an odd spot. It's like he's in the middle of the porch, not really next to the wall, and he's not really facing outward. He's like facing the corner of the house. And about that same time, you notice there's another guard, and this guard is standing out in the garden. And he also seems to almost be pointed in a random, odd direction, not strategic, not what you'd expect.
Are they
And they're just standing there.
facing, you say they're facing an odd direction. Is it the same odd
No.
direction? Oh, okay.
No.
And these fellows are motionless?
Yeah.
And they're
I
just
mean,
wearing dark suits. They're nondescript looking.
And they're dark, so their suits, they're kind of rumpled.
Uh-huh. This so the house is enclosed by a brick wall?
All the way around, yeah. It's not a
And
very
it
high
has-
brick wall. There's wrought iron on the top of it.
And it has a gate,
Yeah.
Um,
which
the
is also
gate
wrought iron.
Yes, but the gate is not closed at the moment.
you say
Uh-huh.
that their suits are rumpled.
Yeah.
Are they different kind of suits? Are they not like
They're just suits like everybody wears.
well, all right, what I'm trying to get at is, do these look like random people off the street that might
No.
have gotten possessed as guards? Are they a group of people that he had hired?
No, they look like big brutish guys.
Oh. Savages people.
But they're not doing anything.
But when you say they're not moving, are they like a scarecrow not moving, or are they kind of shifting weight once in a while?
You can see that they're shifting weight every once in a while.
They're
But they're
in a
not-
trance.
They're not looking around. You know.
They're in a trance. They're hoodooed. That would be my guess. That's why they're just at odd, random intervals. You know, not like particularly paying attention with the physical senses. So when we walk up on them, they're going to know that we're there.
Well, if I slip through the open front gate, do they respond?
Nope. One of them
Yeah.
is sort of looking at, I mean, he must have seen you come through the gate, but he doesn't respond. Their hands are also just hanging, to the side.
Yeah, these lugs might have already had their souls eaten. I'm not sure they're going to bother us. Do we want to try the house? I'm sort of leaning out of the fence to ask the fellows this. Leaning out of the gate.
Me try the house. If I'm questioned about anything, I could just say that I'm inquiring about Mr. Delgado from the club. And, and I could take it from there, and then I could maybe drop a hint that Felix is trying to get a hold of him, and maybe get the ball rolling there, and then we could follow that up with a telegram.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
So you're going to go in?
Yes, I'm going to go in and just
walk up.
Walk gently, have a little twitch and stuff, but I'm just kind of acting gentlemanly like.
Okay, you're going by yourself?
By myself.
All right.
Do the guards react?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I'm going to go up to one of them. Good sir. Hello there.
He sort of turns and looks at you, and he says, "You're not supposed to be here."
Oh, I do apologize, sir. My name is Iselwyn Munden. I'm a fellow member of the Wentworth Club with Mr. Delgado, and we were coming by here, and we were hoping to. We tried calling him earlier. Is he available by any chance?
You talk a lot.
Oh, I tend to be accused of that. I'm sorry.
And he just sort of looks over like this, and just sort of turns and sort of drifts away.
Am I able to kind of slip around him and him not?
Yeah. Just walk around
Okay.
him.
I'm gonna walk around him. Just
Okay.
kind of be sneaky and just gonna kind of not be sneaky, but not be obvious. Just kind of
He
look
doesn't
around.
seem to care.
Okay.
Mr. Longton, Mr. Albright, we appear to have free admission to the house based on the way things look with Mr. Munden. Shall we advance?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we have two targets after all, as it were. And
All right.
and going up the lane, I'm gonna sort of give the other guard standing in the garden a little bit of a look. His eyes are unfocused.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's odd. There's a sadness to the way they look. Like the way a person looks when they find out that everybody they've loved has died. And it's just sort of sunk in.
Mm-hmm. Lost
Lost.
and
That's a good word.
disinterested.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna, I think we're following Munden into the house.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm not gonna go inside. I want to go around and maybe peek in a few windows and stuff. But
Well,
Okay.
Mr. Munn, do a spot hidden for me.
made it. It's a standard success.
You go to look in the window and you realize that the front door is cracked open a little bit. You look in the windows, you can see it's a very nice foyer. And,
Any more guards inside, or?
You don't see anybody offhand, no.
Is it early evening at this point?
I'd say it's probably late afternoon.
Mm-hmm. So the house is not evidently lit.
No.
It doesn't stand out. Mm-hmm.
So as you're doing that, Munden, the other three come walking up behind you.
Oh, hey. Yes. Sorry.
Oh, sorry to startle you.
No problem.
It appears as though there's no
Came sooner
objection
than
to
I
our
expected.
entering.
Maybe. Maybe. Perhaps.
The front door has glass in it.
No, it's a big wooden thing.
But
It's a big black ebony thing with carvings in it.
Why not one of you go through the back? See if anything's going on at the back, and the rest of us could try the front door.
All right, I'll go to the back.
I was going to say, I think we're too late. Let's just get in and out before we waste any more time here. We might.
True. I mean, they're not offering us any resistance. The door's even open.
Yes, and we just saw that, and then we were concerned. We're concerned citizens. He's a fellow member of the Wentworth Club. Yes, let's go.
Yep. And the door does not resist when I put two fingers and slide it open?
Nope, it opens right up.
Keeping a sharp eye for anything that might catch it.
Yeah, I'm head, and there are sadly no cats lounging on the porch.
Nope, no cats.
Pity. All right, so I'm opening the door wide enough to slip through and entering quietly, but not on silly tiptoes.
Yeah,
I'd say the basement or the attic. That's where all spooky shit happens.
The first thing that you notice that seems obviously odd is there had been a fire in the fireplace, but the fire has gone out and there's just smoke, coming from the fireplace. It's odd that they would let it go out, It's a big place. So where do you want to go?
And it's totally quiet.
Totally quiet.
And
like us,
I
so
would,
you know the place better than us.
Yeah, I was here before for a party. There's a sitting room and a ballroom and he had a.
It's 5 stories high.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot to it.
I wasn't invited to see his special collection, but Reginald was, and I know roughly where it is. I think I'm going to head in that direction. If there's anything mystical happening, it's going to be among his artifacts.
Okay.
Assuming that I don't run into anyone on the way.
I believe you think that the collection was on the second floor.
And the place is dim and silent.
Right.
Yeah.
Been a good ear out, see if anybody's here rustling or see anything move. Or
All right. So Audrey, you're going to go up the stairs.
I'm going to invite Patrick with me.
Patrick is going with you.
I'm staying on the ground floor to meet up with Fuller in the back.
All right. Fuller, you go around to the back, and there is a woman. Seems to be dressed like maybe a kitchen staff, and she's standing in next to a tree right outside the door, and it looks like she was in the midst of maybe hanging some laundry, and the laundry is just there on the ground, and she's next to the tree just sort of staring off into nothing.
Just
the
ignore her.
guards.
Just ignore her.
Okay. So you go up to the back door and it is unlocked.
Go in, start taking room by room.
Okay. You eventually find Munden out in the front, but we'll go to the others going upstairs. All right, so Patrick and Audrey go upstairs to the first floor, and you start looking around. You find a couple of guest bedrooms, and you find a room with a double door that has some kind of ornate doors. You can almost guess this is either a den or maybe this is his collection. And as you open up the doors, well, you tell me, do you open up the doors? Are you careful or quiet or whatever? There's a man standing inside, and he's got his back to you. He seems to be looking into one of the cases in the collection.
How's he dressed?
He's tall, he's thin, he's in a black suit. His hair is black and neatly cut, and he sort of smells of cigarettes just a little bit. And he's not really doing anything. He's just standing there. He didn't seem to react when you opened the door, and the door made a creaky noise when it opened. His hands are also just at his sides.
Does this fit the description of Elphinstone? It does, right?
It fits Delgado. He's tall.
It's Delgado. Audrey probably saw Delgado before.
Yeah, this is the backside of Delgado.
This is the backside of Delgado. So he's already been exited. As we're standing there in the double doors with his back, and he's did you say he was swaying slightly?
Yeah, just sort of,
and just
like he's staring at something.
So in a conversational tone of voice, I say, Patrick, I think we're too late. And does he respond at all?
You hear him sort of go, huh.
And there's no one else in the room.
No.
And there's no sign of, nothing's broken. Everything's intact and normal.
Yeah, pretty
looking
much.
In the afternoon light. I sort of wave my finger around to Patrick, and I start to go around counterclockwise.
Okay.
To get to the front of him.
So as you move towards the front of him, you can see that he looks rather gaunt, almost like he's been malnourished. Of course, he was thin before. His eyes are somewhat glazed over, like somebody who hadn't slept in a while. And do a spot hidden for me.
That's a fail. Patrick, do you see anything?
I'll fail also.
Really?
Yeah.
You're
Annoying.
standing right there.
Give it to us.
Right.
All right,
I'll take a bonus die.
I'll give you.
Wait. I'm sorry. I got 46 out of 50. I thought I only had 20 in it for some reason. I was looking at the wrong score.
All right, Patrick, as you're standing there and Audrey makes her move, you can see Delgado's eyes, and just as she moves, he looks at her for a second, and then he just goes back to what he was doing, or looking, not at her.
I'm gonna try. Can I look to see where his eyes are laying?
Well, you think they're looking at something in the case, but what's in the case looks like some Egyptian trinket, unimportant little thing.
I'm gonna go like that to Audrey and point to the case. I'm gonna take a step or two back and clap my hands behind his head.
All right, so you're gonna like clap right behind his head?
Yeah, but that would a little bit of space. That way, if he swings around to grab me, I can move back.
Okay. You make the noise behind his head, and he startles a little bit, and he slowly turns around, and he looks at you. He's
Now
like,
he's looking at me.
He's like, "Who the devil are you?"
You don't know me? And I'm trying to. Hopefully, Audrey's going around to look at.
Should I?
Of course.
Hmm.
Who are you?
I'm surprised you don't know me. My name is Aloysius Delgado.
Okay.
I'm the most important person on Earth right now.
Elaborate on that.
Huh. Have you ever heard of Mozart?
Of course.
Composer Mozart. You've heard his music?
Yes, many times.
See, people remember Mozart. They remember his music. And for the next 1,000 years, people will remember Mozart. But eventually, they'll forget him. Eventually, the human race will be gone, and there won't be any people left to remember Mozart, and Mozart will then truly be dead. But I will never die. I am immortal. I will live forever because I have been the host of a God, and I am forever in his mind, and he will remember me until the stars are gone from the sky. And even then he'll remember me. I am immortal. I'm much better than Mozart.
And there's nothing of interest in the case, right?
Nothing.
Having determined that, and with his gaze toward Patrick, I say, "And who hosts Euhuthris now?"
Whoever he wants. I don't know. It was time for him to move on. He plans on moving all the way up. Possess the king, maybe, if he can get a hold of him.
Where's Elphinstone?
My friend Elphinstone, what a wonderful man. It's because of him, you know. He's the one who first told me. He told me that I was the reincarnation of a god. He does automatic writing, you know. He writes.
Does he?
And they contacted him, told him everything.
What is his given name, your friend Elphinstone?
Edwin.
Edwin. Um,
I thought that at first he was just a bloody little fortune teller. But he knows his stuff.
he seems to have left you in somewhat dire straits,
No,
Mr. Delgado.
he left me blessed. I am blessed of Nabu. I am one of the chosen vessels. I am better than all of the rest of you. I have everything I ever wanted. Immortality I have. I will
In
live
his
forever.
memory,
That's
you'll be
all
as
we
dead
ever
as the
have.
rest of us.
It's all we ever have is memory. The only thing that lasts is memory, but it doesn't last for human memory. It lasts for God's memory.
Well, Mr. Delgado, I pity you.
Don't pity me. I am blessed. I am one of the chosen of Nabu. I have seen everything. I've seen all of his plans, everything that he's going to do.
When you read the Book of the Future with him, what does it tell you?
It tells me that you're all going to die. And he's going to destroy the world. And he just sort of is staring off into space.
He responded to me, but he was still looking generally in Patrick's direction.
He was sort of just
Or
looking.
did he turn around?
He's looking whichever way his head is sort of facing. He seems to be there and not be there.
I'm trying to determine whether I have the strength of will not to push him over. Shouldn't be hard. But my power is only 35, so what's a good hand against the breastplate do to him?
Cow tipping. So, if you stop talking to him, he seems to just stop talking to you. He doesn't seem to be a manipulative, lying person anymore. He says what comes into his mind.
I want to wave Audrey out to the hall and be like, maybe we should search the whole place. We'll probably get no resistance here. Maybe we could find a clue to where this Elfenstein or Elphinstone or whomever we're looking for has gone.
Well, it's that or try to get him to tell us where Euhuthris has gone. You know, all he said was wherever he wants, but he knows if he was present.
Maybe ask him whose body he's in now, or it's worth a shot. I mean, we have nothing else to go on at this point.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of him. If you want to find the fellows and tell them to do a once-over of the place.
Yeah, just be careful.
There is a really, really delightful Egyptian knickknack in that case that I'm going to grab too, because why not?
I mean, we're going to need money to go to Hong Kong, so
he's not going to miss it.
Take whatever we want at this point.
It's, you know, it looks like it's, I don't know, topaz and something. It's very cute.
Sounds like Audrey's learned from the best as far as
Audrey's rapidly declining ethically. So, do you still call yourself Delgado?
Aloysius Delgado. You should remember that name for as long as you have a brain to live to remember.
If I wished to join you as a vessel of Euhuthris, how can I find his spirit now?
You don't find him. He chooses you.
Who did he choose to leave you for?
Oh, I don't know. Probably Elphinstone told him someone to move into. Someone that can get him into that party.
You weren't invited to the garden party?
I am not always invited. I wasn't invited this year, so probably
And-
that woman.
Oh, one of the women you sent to the auction.
Oh, no. No, not Mafalda. Mafalda's, no. Delightful woman, not very bright. No, Elphinstone used to hang around with a younger woman sometimes, but only in the last few days.
Hmm.
I think she might be a neighbor.
So you weren't present when the entity left you? It just moved on?
I remember Elphinstone handing me the seal. And then I woke
Was that
up.
in the church?
No.
Later.
No, the church, that was Nabu. That was Nabu hungry for souls.
Mm.
He ate everybody in my house. And he sort of looks around. He says, oh, well, I can hire more staff.
So your neighbor, what is her
Elphinstone's
name?
neighbor.
Elphinstone's neighbor. Edwin Elphinstone has a young lady neighbor. Is she comely?
Yes, very pretty.
Do you mind if I, this little topaz gewgaw, do you mind if I take that with me?
Oh, I don't care.
No. I wonder if you'll ever get around to hiring anyone else. I somehow doubt it.
Doesn't matter. The end is coming soon. We can all glory in that. I'll be the only one that's remembered, though.
Well, I'm the comely neighbor. What's your name?
I don't know.
Is he in town, your friend Elphinstone?
Yes.
Where does he live?
2B, Gainsford Street, Kentish Town, North London.
Well,
Has a townhouse. Kind of a dump.
everyone has their own strengths after all. You have this magnificent house. He has his automatic writing and his good friends. Do you think she'll keep him as high priest?
He is the high priest.
He is the high priest.
He's the chosen high priest of Nabu. He is Nabu's guide into our world. He doesn't know our customs yet, but I taught him what I could. I showed him the way of our world. Now he knows what I know. He'll do fine. All right. Anything else?
I think I'm done with this dialogue. I can't believe I got an address out of him there. That's handy.
Searching the house, you don't find anything interesting.
You obviously tell us what
Yeah.
transpired, right?
Yes.
Well,
Except that he's muted.
Yes, I do. In the front lawn before we leave the property.
I want to go talk to him.
Really? He's not
Yeah.
going to have anything else to say that he hasn't already said.
Just ask him simply, would Elphinstone like the horn of Alu?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys want to like go to one of the side bedrooms start a fire, and then we'll be long gone before
No,
it's noticeable?
no. Let's just call the yard. Have them come here, and they'll take everyone, including Delgado, to Bedlam. This place will be liquidated, and that'll be the end of that. We don't even need to start a fire.
Who knows? Maybe Delgado has a likable nephew,
Yes, quite.
but I don't think he's going to cause any trouble.
No, no fuss, no muss. Let's just call the yard, let them know that something odd's going on, and they'll take care of it from here.
A likable nephew who then takes over the property and discovers some very strange and disturbing things that lead to an entirely new scenario.
The sequel.
Hence why I was going to burn, but
Well, I mean, two of us are antiquarians, so you're not going to get us to set fire to a house full of antiquities.
I'm an antiquarian.
Yeah, you're a banana.
Yeah, actually, four of us. All four of us like old stuff. Nobody's going to burn this house down.
All right, I think that's a good spot to stop. And
why don't we kind of get Delgado's permission to have everything transferred to the British Museum?
I was thinking that earlier too.
Yeah. And then what we don't.
And you call me bad.
Well,
No, but that's
not-
for the
Pirate,
public.
If he can still sign
Kleptomaniacs.
things, I think he'll sign anything.
the thing is that Delgado's state of mind is not one of suggestibility, but rather he just doesn't give a shit. So
That's fine.
if you said that, he'd say, "No, I'm not going to give my stuff to them. Why?
Okay.
You know,
never mind.
I like my things."
Let's try. Let's try.
Anyway, our players included David Gasaway, Ford Fitch, Jason Melanchok, and Jerry Bryant, with myself as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows, free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.